All right, thanks everybody for joining. This is the PHL Pre-K Fiscal Training for FY 2023. Or as a reminder, this session is for centers. I am Carrie Lee. I am the PHL Pre-K Contracts Manager at PHMC. You may hear from some other folks on the line. We have representatives from the Office of Children and Families, PHMC, and also from the Spark Quality Support Center. You can hear about some of those supports later on in the presentation. So please have your phones and microphones muted. You can type any questions in the question box along the way, and we'll try to address as many as we can. This presentation is being recorded and slides will be included in the newsletter as well. So the purpose of this training is to review FY23 fiscal expectations and deliverables outlined in the PHL Pre-K contract. We want to get all your questions answered and help you really plan for the year. We want to provide information on the financial systems and controls providers need to have in place to support the reporting requirements, so you can see how your systems align and if there are any gaps. We also wanted to be able to provide resources, so if you do have any gaps in your system, you can get the help you need now at the beginning of the year. So our agenda will mirror those objectives. We'll go over the overview of the FY23 fiscal expectations. We'll talk about financial management systems and best practices, and then talk about the resources that are available. So fiscal expectations. Each provider agrees to adhere to its respective budget as approved by PHMC. Providers, their contractors and subcontractors need to comply with the 21st century minimum wage benefit. That's at $15 right now for this year. Each provider needs to complete the fiscal reviews outlined in your PHL Pre-K contract. And then providers need to maintain your books according to generally accepted principles of accounting and in accordance with the terms of the PHL Pre-K agreement. And this includes ability to produce financial reports like balance sheets and income statements, also reporting on accrual versus cash basis. It's also recommended that providers seek professional accounting services to ensure they're adhering to the terms of the agreement and adhering to acceptable accounting practices. So this can range from hiring a bookkeeper to selecting a certified public accountant. Providers will make their books of account and related records available and accessible for audit, examination, excerpts and transcriptions by PHMC or any other authorized representatives. And providers also agree to maintain the records for 5 years after the final payment is made and until any pending matters are closed. Now, there are factors that may affect what fiscal reporting reviews are needed this year. First, how much PHL Pre-K funding your organization receives. So you get your contract amount at the beginning of the year, but it's really how much you've received by the end of the year. So if you aren't fully enrolled through the year, you may not draw down all those funds. There are also changes from last year to this year. So you just don't assume that your review level will be the same as last year. Some of these changes from FY22 to FY23 are the thresholds for the types of independent external reviews needed have increased. FY23 review categories consider whether you received other city, state, or federal funds. And OCF's slot amount has increased from $87,500 or $87,050 to $10,000 per slot. So this is great news. This should change your reporting and review requirements though. So remember that no matter what method of financial presentation you do, what we're really looking to see through fiscal reporting is a standalone presentation of the PHL program. So if you have accounting software, which is recommended, you can make this differentiation by tagging expenses to PHL Pre-K, and then you can easily be able to report on that after. Compliance with tax laws and regulations is also an expectation, city, state, and federal. City tax compliance is monitored monthly by PHMC, and providers will be contacted if they are non-compliant. If you are non-compliant, we'll ask you to reach out directly to the City of Philadelphia Department of Revenue. Best way to do that is by email. We'll have all this information in the email that we send to you, but you want to be sure to really identify yourself as a PHL Pre-K provider. That will help expedite the process. And you want to make sure you provide the information needed for the Revenue Department to help you, including your business name and your entity ID, which is the number the business is registered under. So that could be your EIN, your social security number, or your city tax number. For PHL Pre-K, there are some allowable and unallowable expenses. So for allowable, under the column on the left-hand side, any childcare related expenditures, which includes expenses that support blended classrooms. Also, the cost of memberships are allowable expenses to business, technical, and professional organizations. On the right-hand side, you'll see the unallowable expenses. Those include the purchase of land, new construction or major renovations, purchase of gift cards, money orders, gift certificates, travel checks, the purchase of alcohol, lease of vehicles, payments toward staff entertainment that are not related to professional development events, the cost of membership in civic, community, and social organizations or organizations whose primary purpose is lobbying, purchase of any secondhand or used items, which could include, but not limited to, those from individuals, yard sales, and auctions. So in terms of some fiscal reporting, so for all providers are going to be required to do a mid-year fiscal report. That is going to, we're going to be contacting you in about December of this year, and then it will be due in February, and we'll provide the template for you to be able to fill out. Okay, so desk reviews and year-end reports are done at the end of the year. Desk reviews are required for a 10% sample of providers receiving less than $300,000 in organizational receipt of PHL Pre-K funds, and providers with identified fiscal concerns. So if you're selected for a desk review, we'll contact you in July of 2023, and then your general ledger will be due in August of 2023. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. For the year-end review, providers who are not selected for desk reviews and those receiving less than $300,000 in organizational receipt of PHL Pre-K funding are required to do year-end desk reviews. Again, this follows the same timeline as the desk review. We'll contact you in July of 2023, and then the template will be due in August 2023. So for the mid-year and year-end expense review, we'll provide a template for that. It's going to be the PHL Pre-K budget versus actuals report, where you'll enter in your budget that was approved at the beginning of the year, and then how you actually spent PHL Pre-K funding. That will also include tabs to provide detailed reporting for line item expenses. For the desk review, you'll need to submit a general ledger, and then PHMC will complete a review that includes reviewing the general ledger and tracing expenses to supporting documentation, verifying that purchases are in accordance with established laws and regulations, and we'll also request a copy of accounting policies and your accounting policies and procedures. Now, providers should submit one of these reviews submit separate reviews for each entity that contracts with the city. So an individual entity refers to each entity that has a distinct taxpayer ID number or social security number or employer identification number. For these reviews, providers can complete them themselves with the help of their internal fiscal staff and external fiscal experts as applicable. You do not need to have a certified CPA to help you with these reporting requirements here. Now, for the general, desk review, we will ask for the general ledger. Just wanted to give a sample of what that might look like. An effective general ledger also has clear dates of entry and description, consistency in how expenses are coded, and the ability to go back to find specific details about transactions. We'll also want to make sure you're following documentation best practices. Business and personal bank accounts and credit cards should be kept separate. There's no commingling of funds. The benefits of you really using a business credit card for transactions is that you can track expenses more easily and also establish a financial cushion. Every transaction must have a receipt. So if you lose or misplace it, you can either request a replacement or in the worst case, just write a memo in the general ledger explaining that. You want to remember to match receipts to credit cards and keep as supporting documentation for that general ledger. And you really want to keep cash transactions to a minimum to reduce fraud, waste, and abuse. These are just subject to many control breakdowns. Your written set of accounting policies and procedures should be in place to ensure that finances are managed with accuracy, efficiency, and transparency. Make sure you're following the guidelines of funders, PHL Pre-K, and any other funding you may have, and also the consistent handling of account transactions and financial reporting. You should take a look at your accounting policies and procedures and review and revise them annually. So what happens after these reports are submitted? So for the mid-year and year-end reviews, PHMC verifies adherence to PHL Pre-K billing and fiscal guidelines. That includes comparing your PHL Pre-K budget with your actual spent, checking to make sure there are no disallowable expenses, and reviewing your allocation methods to make sure they're clearly documented. For the desk reviews, PHMC verifies that PHL Pre-K expenses are clearly identified. We select a sample of transactions and request supporting documentation so we can check for correctness, accuracy, and propriety. We verify that the provider has the appropriate insurance and up-to-date on taxes. And we also verify a host of other procedures, including expenditures, allocations, payroll, accounts payable, credit cards, petty cash, gift cards, and others. So if we after these reviews, corrective action or additional fiscal monitoring may be recommended, and we'll follow up accordingly. So I wanted to touch on the independent external reviews. These must be completed by certified public accountants. So the first review level is the agreed upon procedure. So an agreed upon procedure is required in accordance with the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. You'll need this review if these things apply to your organization. If your PHL Pre-K funding is at $300,000 to just below $500,000, this also takes into account city funding as well. So if the combined amount of PHL Pre-K and any other city contracts that you may have equal to this level as well, this review level applies to you. Also, if you have less than $500,000 in organizational receipt of federal or state funds, you'll need to complete an agreed upon procedure. And if you have any questions about this, you can check with your CPA as well. These reporting requirements have changed a bit since last year. Your report may need to include the statement of financial position, the statement of activities and change in net assets, a statement of cash flows, and statement of functional review and expenses, and also a balance sheet. So that information is there below. You'll also want to really look over your provider contract, and specifically the modifications to the general provisions for specific reporting requirements. Next is the Yellow Book audit. So that's an audit in accordance with generally accepted government auditing standards. Again, must be completed by a certified public accountant. These are for providers that have $500,000 or greater in organizational receipt of PHO pre-K and other city funding, and also have $500,000 or greater in federal and state funds. The reporting requirements are below. This may need to include the statement of financial positions, statement of functional revenue and expenses, a balance sheet, statement of activities and change in net assets, and statement of cash flows. And in addition, there must be an opinion given on internal control over financial reporting. So we'll also create some resources through the year to be able to, so you'll be able to share these with your auditor as well. For those receiving $750,000 or more in federal funding, a single audit in accordance with the United States Code of Federal Regulations Title II is required. That as well must be completed by a certified CPA. So for the external review reporting requirements, we went over a little bit for each, but just wanted to highlight that similar to the previous fiscal reporting that I mentioned, a provider should submit a separate audit for each individual entity that contracts with the city. It should include a separate schedule related to PHO pre-K and any other city contracts if applicable. And it also should comply with the city's subrecipient audit guide. And I think that link, if Joy is on, she's going to share that in the chat now. Oh, thank you. That and the city subrecipient guide can be shared with your auditor as well. So again, certified CPAs complete these audits. The period of reporting should align with your fiscal year. So if your fiscal year is on a calendar year ending in December 31st, that reporting period is going to be January to December of 2022. So this is going to cross 2 program years. So the beginning of the year from January to June will be the FY22 program year. July 1st to December 31st is going to be the PHO pre-K FY23 program year. For our other fiscal years that providers use, a common one is June 30th, and that aligns with the PHO pre-K program year. So that reporting period would be July to June, and then that would just align with the FY22 PHO pre-K program year. Providers must complete these independent external reviews 3 months from the close of the books of their fiscal year. Deadlines, we'll contact folks about submitting external reviews in August of 2023, and then the due date is October 30th, 2023. After providers submit these audits, PHMC will verify adherence to PHO pre-K billing and fiscal reporting guidelines. That includes verifying that a CPA was completed the audit, and that includes a qualified opinion, reviewing that separate schedule of detailed PHO pre-K costs, looking at whether reporting is on an accrual or cash basis, and providers are required by the contract to be reporting on an accrual basis. And if there are material misrepresentations, there's an action plan on how the provider is going to fix the issues. Again, with this, if corrective action or additional fiscal monitoring may be recommended based on these reviews. The providers can submit for extensions no later than 2 months following the close of the provider's fiscal year. They may request a 90-day one-time extension that may be granted if it includes an engagement letter from the auditor, or a 30-day one-time extension may be granted if the request does not include an engagement letter from the auditor. And for any kind of extension, a compelling reason must be given, and then it will need OCF approval. And I want to stop here. That was a lot of information given. If there are any questions, we can try to answer any right now. So you can type it in the chat box. Okay, none so far, but please, oh, wait just a moment. We do think I have some. All right, we have Tanjal is asking, are the reporting for all income or just PHL pre-K? So we do ask for the reviews, it will require to provide some organizational detail, and it will need that standalone PHL pre-K expenses of how you spent PHL pre-K funds. But we do ask for in like the mid-year review, year-end review, we would ask for, how your total cost, and then what percentage of that is charged to PHL pre-K.
And what your allocation method is.
Yeah, Ken, if you definitely, this Ken Perry, our accounting manager for PHL pre-K. If you have anything else to add to that, please feel free.
Well, yeah, I'm just going to say, when it comes to looking at your total operation, we want to see what your total operation is, and also what the affiliate pre-K portion is, so that we can get a sense of materiality. And then it also gives us a basis for judging whether or not the allocation methods that are provided seem reasonable. And just making sure that everybody knows what's going on and everybody's paying their fair share.
Great, thanks, Ken. So,
I think I saw something about Philly, about the minimum wage being $15 an hour. That is my understanding, that is minimum for the city of Philadelphia.
That is correct. We do have some other questions that came in as well. Excuse me. Have any conversations been had to make yellow book audits every 3 years?
Not to my knowledge.
It is in the PHL pre-K contract that it would be required every year. But we can definitely take that feedback back. When will the notice of approval for the extensions be given? This is extensions for independent external reviews. We will, so for this year, we're asking for the extensions to be submitted now. So we hope to be able to give you approvals or information from the Office of Children and Families within the next month or so, hopefully sooner.
I just saw a very interesting question. I think it was from someone named Mercedes about where can
so we will be, so that we are still, we're working on developing, sending out the contracts, drafting all of the contracts for providers now, and hoping for it to be sent out in the next few months. Yes, if anybody could, I'll help you.
Somebody's not muted. There.
Okay, we want to make sure to get to all the questions. I'll go back because we were skipping over a few. So we have the extension approvals. Can you confirm the due dates for monthly invoices? And that, I believe, is by October. Joy, do you want to come on and say that? I believe it's October 10th.
Yes, the invoicing period is from the 1st of the month until the 10th of the month.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So someone's asking, our center applied for an extension due to the bookkeeper and CPA being on vacation. If you submitted your request for an extension for FY22, we are in the process of trying to get, we'll be submitting that to OCF for approval, and we'll hopefully be getting back to you within the next month or so, hopefully sooner. Is the external review something that the CPA would know to do, or they need to be notified? So you do need to engage a CPA as your auditor. You need to be able to submit then what the reporting requirements are. That could be sharing your contract. We'll also hope to develop some resources for you to be able to share with your auditor. But you want to make sure that your auditor says that they can do all of those reporting requirements before engaging with them.
And make sure that you have a reputable and qualified auditor. We have to be very, very clear here. You have these reviews have to be performed by a CPA. Later in the presentation, we'll be telling you resources on how to ensure and obtain a CPA to work with.
So Lisa mentioned the comment, it's a 10-month program and an audit takes 5 months to complete. It's worth a discussion. We will definitely take that feedback back.
Thank you, Joy.
Is there a way for the CPAs to discuss expectations directly with someone from PHL Pre-K? We can have discussions with the CPA. We'd also want to have any provider that has engaged with them to be involved in that conversation as well. Yes, that could be arranged or coordinated.
Just be sure, just understand that the CPA is contracted by your organization.
Mm-hmm.
We might be giving you guidance as to what our expectations are, but you are the client for that CPA. And so you are responsible for what they report on.
So I think there are some questions about where providers fall in terms of the fiscal reporting. I think we're gonna try to, if you do have any questions, if you could reach out to the PHL Pre-K inbox directly, and then we can work with you directly on making sure you have the correct information. The extension request, someone just wanted to confirm. So this is related to FY22 end of year reporting. So that sort of overlaps now that we're asking for the reporting for FY22. The extension request is going to be due at the end of this month. So you want to submit that form. We have contacted you by letter and send around that link. It's also in the PHL Pre-K newsletter as well. So you will want to fill out that form before September 30th if you want to submit an extension request. Joy put in some links. These are for all the resources, and we'll go over that in just a minute. My CPA is costing, I guess changing the budget, the cost for the CPA is changing a budget amount for a provider. Is a revision needed? You don't need to request a revision, but in the end of your reporting, you'd put in what your actuals were spent on that. and then submit, and then you'd write out a justification for why there is a difference in what you had in the beginning of the year, your budget, to the actual spent. Okay, and if there's anything you want to add to that as well.
No.
Okay. So I think that's the end of the questions, and we want to make sure to get to the remaining part of this presentation, but please feel free if you do have more questions, type them in, and we'll try to get to as many as we can at the end. So just the financial systems, management systems and best practices you want to have in place. Let me get, great. And these are best practices that providers should be using for sustainability, and not just specific to PHL pre-K. So you want to have a financial management system that allows you to track revenue and expenses and produce financial reports. You want to have a written set of accounting policies and procedures for the reasons we mentioned previously. You want to make sure you're complying with city, state, and federal tax laws and regulations, classifying employees appropriately, maintaining tax compliance, make sure you're reporting on an accrual basis, not cash, using business banking and credit card accounts, following those documentation best practices, developing procedures early on and how you're calculating allocations, and then also developing strategies to prepare for the unexpected, like having a line of credit or contributing to a rainy day fund. Now, these financial management systems are really critical to be setting up now. So if you don't have your finances in order, you're going to have a lot of difficulty with the financial reporting or external reviews at the end of the year. A recommendation is to really be using accounting software. Options may include QuickBooks, Wave, or FreshBooks. There are other options as well. You want to really find the software that best fits your organization's needs. Accounting software also, as we mentioned, helps tag those PHL pre-K expenses, and you can tag other funding streams as well, and really allows you to be able to produce the financial reports really easily when they're needed. Some recommendations for revenue and expense tracking. You want to be consistent in the categories you're using to code transactions, reconciling transactions monthly, and keeping receipts and other supporting documentation just in case it's requested, and also for your records as well. The reports you should be generating and reviewing regularly are that general ledger, your income statement, often referred to as a profit and loss statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statements.
Can we stop there? Just for 1 second. You, as a business owner, not only should you be generating these, you should be looking at them so that you can get an idea of how your business is doing. That's all I have to say on that. Yes, that was the Forrest Gump moment.
Thanks, Ken. Okay, so now onto the resources. So if you don't have those financial management systems in place, again, we want you to be able to get the resources you need to get help now. So if you need help in finding a certified CPA, the Pennsylvania Institute of Certified Public Accountants has a search locator. Joy put it in the chat box, the links to this. You also want to make sure when you're bringing on a CPA or someone else that's helping you with your books, you want to ensure that they have the qualifications you need. And especially if you're interviewing those CPAs, that they can complete the PHL pre-K audit requirements by those deadlines. We also have a guide here that Joy put the link to on a guide that helps you select an accountant, has some interview questions, and then some other tips that you can use to be able to find the person that fits your needs. I'm going to stop here and let Tanishai Campbell speak to the Sparks Quality Support Center. She's their business support specialist.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Tanny Shaw Campbell, and I am the Business Support Specialist at Quality Support Center, which is the Knowledge Center. And well, we have a Knowledge Center, but I am the Support Specialist for QSC. Do everyone know who the Quality Support Center is at Spark? And so our role is to support providers that's enrolled in the PHA Pre-K program to support them in meeting their deliverables with the PHL Pre-K program. And we have coaches, providers are assigned to coaches, as well as coaches who will help them in the process and support them with various areas of, to meet their deliverables. We also have specialists who can provide trainings in regards to needs that the providers, various needs that the providers may have to strengthening their quality. And so my role is to support providers with business and administrative practices. And the reason why I'm here today, obviously, is because we are discussing the upcoming year fiscal expectations. And so I am a support for you if you need support with doing your mid-year and end-year reports, also providing resources around business practices and fiscal reporting. We have monthly trainings each month at Spark for business supports, as well as the specialists that provide services for other areas. So if you go into our Knowledge Center, you will find an event calendar will provide you with various trainings that we offer throughout the month. The business supports, or we provide trainings once a month. Each specialist provides trainings once a month on various content. In October, we will begin providing 2 trainings a month, which will be a new training and also a repeat training that we may have had a month prior for providers who were unable to attend those other trainings. This coming training in regards to business will be coming up September 19th. And it will be regarding what we just talked about, budgeting and maintaining your expenses. And so please go visit our website, Spark's website, and you can register for the training, and you also will receive your PQuas credits for the training as well. We also have an initiative coming up soon. I don't have the exact date, but my director, Tracy, is working on the date. We will be launching, Sabotage will be coming out and providing one-on-one consultative services regarding business practices for providers. Every provider will be given a consultative session. It's for free. You can contact us and you'll check the Sparks website, and also they will be posting that information on the PHL Pre-K newsletter. It should be coming up in the next week or 2 from what I understand, and you can register for the service and you will receive 1 to 3 sessions in regards to whatever you want to discuss. You will get an initial interview from the Sabotage team, and then you will go from there and then will develop an action plan to work around areas of your concern. And so that should be coming in the next couple of weeks. So please look out for that in the PHL Pre-K newsletter. And also I will put my email in the chat where you can contact me if you need additional support, or if you're interested in a training that you would like for me to come out and provide you and your administrative staff at your center. Also, you have your coach. Hopefully everyone has been assigned a coach. You can also contact your coach if you need additional business supports, as well as any supports. But specifically today, we're discussing business. So, you can contact your coach to contact me to help you as well, or you can contact me directly. Any questions? And I will put my email in the chat for you to reach out to me if you need any additional support. And just know that the business support is not just fiscal, but we support providers with best practices, onboarding new staff, various issues in the center, risk management, making sure you have a risk management policy and procedure, that you have an employee handbook that you have updated. So it's about fiscal, but all the other operational things that you have within your business at your center. Benefits, providing resources around benefits and other areas in which you may need support in to strengthen in your business practices.
Great, thanks so much, Tanishai.
You're welcome.
Okay, just to round out this resources section, Children's Village does have business operations training. I know many have attended these in the past. They don't currently have any on the schedule, but are really hoping to have some on in the near future. So you can visit their website for updates. The Early Childcare Fiscal Hub is a collaborative between PHMC, Reinvestment Fund, and Children's Village. Have a host of resources available on their website, including templates and tools like a standard chart of accounts template, income and expense statements. Also a childcare business basics guide that talks about financial and accounting concepts. So you can check out their website. Also, Panacey's Shared Source PA has a lot of cost and time saving tools and resources. You do have to be a member, but it's free. So all you need to do is request a login. They have things around financial management and a host of other ECE topics to choose from. We just have, to round out this PowerPoint, we just have some definitions here for reference. These will be follow-up slides that you'll be able to reference if needed. We won't go into these, but just to give you a little snapshot, just some definitions on what a general ledger is, other financial reports, cash and accrual basis. So a whole bunch of different definitions for you to take a look back if needed.
When we go back to that one on accruals, the accrual basis and a cash basis of accounting, I can't stress to you enough how important this differentiation is. It benefits you guys a lot. Not only is it required by our contract, not only is it preferred by the AICPA, it helps you as a business owner. It ensures that your expenses and your revenues are being captured in the proper period, thereby leading to proper invoicing. And it takes away a lot of confusion at the end of and the beginning of fiscal periods. It helps everybody. And I know that there are some agencies out there that, because of their confusion on this, ended up feeling like they were stuck in a constant spin cycle. So I really, really do advise that people spend some time getting comfortable with what the difference is and why one is considered better than the other.
And there was a question in the chat box. So PHL Pre-K is requiring an accrual basis.
Yes.
And I just wanted to also point out somebody else's, Carrie's comment or a little bit earlier, that if you are looking for a CPA, not all are capable of doing the auditing requirements. So just make sure upfront that you are talking to that CPA when you're initially engaging them to make sure they're able to support all those reporting requirements.
And that is one of the reasons why we are providing that link to the Pennsylvania Institute of Certified Public Accountants. They are the licensing agency. They will ensure that you have a qualified person there. And you will have a large pool of folks to pull from. So.
So that is the end of our presentation. Are there any further questions that we can answer for you all? You can take a minute for people to type it in. You can also, if you think of any questions after, or if you review this the recording and think of anything, you can always email the PHL Pre-K inbox as well, and we can get back to you. Okay, so if there are any other questions, we want to thank you for joining us today. Again, the recording and slides will be in the PHL Pre-K newsletter. Thank you all for joining. Have a great day.